Hello, and welcome back to our Zombie Wars series. This time we are going to implement the gun and shooting for our player. So, without further ado, let's get going. Well, first things first, we are going to need a gun before we are going to implement anything gun related. And again, we are going to make it in physical. So, let's start our engine and let's draw our gun first. Okay, here we have our gun, and I made it to be 32 by 8 pixels, so it will be a good size for the gun in the hand of the player. And yeah, let's export it from the physical and put it right here on our project. And of course, first we need to rename it, and I think I call it rifle. And then we need to put the gun on the hand of the player. And how we do that is to first to add a new image point to our player. So we double click it to open the editor, and here the edit image point tools. Here we can add a new image point, and I'm going to rename it as a gun point and put it somewhere around there. So this will be the position where we are going to put the gun when the game is run. And yeah, now we can close the window and jump on the event sheet. So what we need to do is to set the position of the rifle to be the same as the gun point that we just defined. And we need to do that every tick in the game so that the gun will stay on the hand even though the player will move. So we make a new event, and here take the system and choose every tick. And here as action we need to set the position of the rifle, so we choose the rifle, and somewhere around here is the set position action. We choose that, and here we can put the SPR player dot image point x, and it's still red, so it will require the brackets. And here we need to define what's the number of the image point, and our gun point is number 1, as the image points will start counting from 0, and usually the origin is the 0, and the next ones you add will be 1, 2, 3, 4, and so forth. Here we can just copy that one and change the x to y, and now we should have it working. And if you're not sure what is the number of your image point, you can always check it right here in the editor, and here you can see the gun point is number 1 and origin is number 0. And if we would add more, it will be number 2 and so forth. Yeah. So now if we play our game, wait, okay, it just took a little while. The gun will stay in the hand, but as you can see, if we move or turn, the gun will not turn with the player. And that's something we are going to implement next. And actually we are going to implement also the turning of the player towards the mouse, so we can aim towards the mouse all the time. So how we do that? Well, let's take a player first. Again, we need to do this every single tick, so that when we move the mouse, the player also will change the angle based on the movement of the mouse. So we need to add a new action in the every tick event. And of course we choose the player. And here is the set angle action. We choose that. And here we can use the construct's own angle function, which will count the angle between like two different objects. And it will take 4 parameters to work. So basically they are the, in this case, x and y coordinates of the player, and then the x and y coordinates of the mouse. So here we can just write the spr underscore player dots. Here we are also going to use the image point, so the right hand where the gun is will be pointing towards the mouse and not the center point of the player. Again, we need to put the number 1 here, then just copy it and put the comma, and after that, that will stay on 1, change x to y, and then we can just put the, well, let's put 0 and 0 for now. We forgot to add the mouse on our game, so we need to go back to the layout, right click, insert new object, and choose the mouse input so that we can use mouse here in the event sheet. So let's go back here again, and by double clicking it and delete the zeros, and now we can use mouse.x and mouse.y. And now if we try to run our game, our player should turn based on the mouse and not based on the like movement itself. So yeah, it works. And next is the gun. And well, we can just copy the previous action with Ctrl C, Ctrl V. And then if we press R, in this case, we can replace the object in the action. So if we double click the SPR rifle, then the rifle will be the object of the action and not the player. And again, we go here. Yeah, it changed the rifle here also, but we don't want to use the image point of the rifle. Rather than we are going to use rifle.x and here rifle.y. And now our gun should turn also with the player, and looks like it does. But there's still one more small problem. If we start to move, you can see that the gun will jump on a bit weird positions every time we move, but go back when we stop. So gladly there's really simple solution for this. We just have to take the setting position action and do that after we set the angle. So now if we run the game, it works just like it should. Like this. Yeah, now we have the working aiming implementation. And the next thing is to do the shooting, and the first thing we need to do is to add a bullet that we can shoot. And well, I'm going to do it here in the construct's own sprite editor because it's going to be a really simple sprite and really small. I'm going to make it 6 by 6. Then just zoom a little bit. So yeah, it's already 1 pixel wide of the pencil, and make it just something like this. And here is our bullet. And we can close the window, and you can see here it's really small, but the bullets usually are really small, but I think it's big enough so that you can see the bullet when you're shooting. And next thing, we need to define the place we are going to add the bullet when we are shooting. And I want to do it here on the rifle. So double clicking on the rifle, we are going to add another image point here. Again, just right clicking, add a new image point, and I'm going to rename this as a shooting point. And again, the number is 1. And well, currently it's here in the center of the sprite, but I'm going to put it here a bit in front of the barrel, because if I would put it right at the tip of the barrel, when we create the bullet, it will be created right here, and the bullet would intersect with the barrel, and it wouldn't look as good. Like if you put it here, it will be created right in front of the gun, so it seems like the bullet will come out of the gun and doesn't look like it will just appear in front of the, or not in front of, like on top of the gun. Yeah, now we have the point, and next we can go back to the event sheet, and here we should make a event where we check when we press the left mouse button, and then we create the sprite and shoot it to the correct direction. Try to do that on your own as a small challenge. So pause the video and try to do that. Okay, were you able to do that? If so, congratulations. If not, don't worry, we will check it right now how to do that. And well, of course, we add a new event, and here we choose the mouse, and here is on click condition, and here we can define what we want to click. Well, left mouse button, and we want to be clicked and not double clicked. We press done, and then we add a new action, and the first one was that we need to create a bullet, and well, it's under the system, the create object. Here we choose the oh, we haven't renamed our bullet yet. Well, we can do it later. Well, we take the bullet, we create it on layer 1, because our game layer is the layer number 1 and background is layer 0. So if we would have 0 right here, the bullets wouldn't collide with anything in the game. And then the place, well, we just defined it. It's in the rifle's image point number 1, and then just copy and paste and change the X to Y, and now we should have the bullet creation in the correct place, and right, as you can see, it gets created right in front of the gun, but our bullet doesn't move yet, and it's really easy to make a move. We just add a new behavior called bullet. I think it should be quite self-defining what it is. It's a move an object ahead or at its current angle, and typically used for bullets and projectiles. Well, we have bullets, so it's really good for that. So if we would shoot now, our bullets will always move towards the right. So we need to change the angle of the bullet, and we can do it just by making a new action, choosing the bullet, and go to the bullet section right here, and there is the set angle of motion. We take that, and again we are going to use the angle function, and this time we want to check the angle between the bullet and the mouse, and so we can just, oh, it was sprite.x and sprite.y, then mouse.x and mouse.y, and now it should be working. If we run the game, will shoot right on top of the mouse icon. So now we have working shooting, but there's still one more problem, that if we are moving and put the mouse close to the player, the gun will freak out a little bit and sometimes even aim straight to the player. So that's one thing we can change, and that's actually a problem with the shape of this player, because our gun is not in the center point of the player, so it will freak out, because the center point of the player is like, or the origin point of the player is right in the center, and the gun point is in different place. So if we would change the origin point to be around the same, yeah, that's the same as the gun point, and we would play again, now the gun won't freak out, but the downside is that when we turn, we will turn around the gun point and not around the center of the player. So it will probably make a little bit harder, like moving the character correctly. But I think I like this kind of movement, so I'm going to keep it. So yeah, I think that it's fine for this series. And yeah, before I forgot, I need to rename the bullet as SPR_bullet. And yeah, this should be everything for this episode. And next time we are going to implement something that we can actually shoot, which is, well, enemies. And we can check how to make them move, pathfind to the player, and all of that fun stuff. So that's everything for now, and I'll see you again in the next episode.